Proverbs chapter 27, verse 23, and we are beginning a section in the book of Proverbs that's going to be dealing with kings. Now, not everything is going to be dealing with kings, but we're going to have different Proverbs. One is a section, 23 to 27, deals with kings, but there will be other things brought in, not randomly. I don't want to use that word, but they're not all together. So it begins like this. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 23, "Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herds." This is not about sheep and goats. It's not. How do I know that? I mean, one could apply it to that, and that's not a problem, because the next verse has the word "for" to it, and it's talking about something else. Notice 23 again, "Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herds, for riches are not forever." And look at this next one, "Nor does the crown endure all generations." It all goes together. And then it's going to go back to talking about flocks again and taking care of your flocks. What is that about? That is a king taking care of his subjects. That is a ruler taking care of his citizens. That's taking care of the country. Be diligent to know the state of your flocks. This is known as proper governance of where you're actually concerned about the people you are supposed to be serving. What is a king for? What is a ruler for? Is it to fleece the sheep? Is it to eat them as they please? Is it for that of corruption? Is it just for his own advantage? What is it for? And flocks are not for lazy people. And kingdoms are not for lazy people. Kingdoms are for kings and rulers that will actually do their job. That's important. And all of this concerns kings and kingdoms. Every bit of it. And with proper governance, you are in fact taking care of the people. You rule them well. You rule your kingdom well. And your kingdom will prosper. Your kingdom will be well supplied. And it will become great. It's that simple. God is showing how it's done through Proverbs, and we've got more than just one in this. But you have God showing what a king should be doing. We've mentioned this every now and then, but we need to come back to it. Romans chapter 13, verse 1, "Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God." All right, now, God appointed Saul, first king of Israel. Was Saul what he was supposed to be? No, he wasn't. Saul, for a little bit, he seemed okay. There was still some peculiarities about him, but he seemed to be okay. Then he becomes just enraged with jealousy and envy over his greatest hero, which was David. Bar none, David was his greatest hero. If there was a greater hero, where was he when Goliath was out on that field? All right, where was he? It wasn't Saul, that's for sure. But you have this youth, he's never even been in the army. Has he even seen battle? If he had, he didn't talk about it. He talked about the lion and the bear, and a literal one in taking care of the sheep. I took care of those, I can take care of him. Okay. And a truly good king is going to take care of his kingdom, but God can appoint them, but that doesn't mean they do the right thing. Anyway, we continue on. Verse 2, "Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil." That's what they're supposed to do. Do you want to be unafraid of the authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. For he is God's minister to you for good. But if you do evil, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is God's minister, an avenger to execute wrath on him who practices evil. All right. That's what a king is supposed to be doing. Protects the innocent, punishes the wicked, carries the sword. And as we have made note before, swords have one purpose. And that's it. Swords have one purpose. And it's to kill. All right, that's it. It's not a cattle prod. It is meant to kill people. That's what swords are for. All right. That's what they do. And that is to be wielded against the wicked, never wielded against the righteous or the innocent. Never to be done that way. Now, going back to Proverbs 27, verse 23, be diligent to know the state of your flocks. Know how they are. Attend to your herds. You are the ruler, but you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to take care of them. Therefore, you must defend the righteous. You must punish the wicked. You must help them however you can. And yes, there have been some wicked kings. We can see them just in the Old Testament. But when Paul was writing those words to the Romans, in Romans chapter 13, what he was talking about, that being a minister of Christ and being chosen by God, that is the rulers. Do you know who was Caesar then? Caesar was Nero. All right, Caesar was a madman. All right, he still has that place of authority. He's still to be addressed as Caesar. He holds that position of authority, and that authority is to be respected even when the man himself is just loony. And there is a reason why God has chosen certain kings at certain times. There's a reason for it. And once again, not every man or woman will be the proper ruler they're supposed to be. Some will and make mistakes. Some won't, and there's nothing but mistakes. All right. That's the thing. All right. So, Proverbs 27 and verse 8 could very well apply to this of attending to your herds. Know the state of your flocks. 27 verse 8, like a bird that wanders from its nest is a man who wanders from his place. And this would be someone who's absent, someone who's not where they're supposed to be. That there are people relying on you, and that I think that is the understanding of that proverb. There are folks relying on you. And if you are off somewhere else doing something else and not attending to your flocks, then you're absent without leave. You are not doing what you're supposed to do. And we can look at individuals in the Old Testament who were not good rulers: Ahab, Jezebel, Athaliah, their daughter. You can look at someone like Zimri. We can look at various ones that they're just wicked. They're wicked people, and their subjects, the innocent and the righteous, suffer. They suffer because of it. The wicked tend to be burgeoning. The wicked get to do whatever the wicked want to do, and others are encouraged to join into that wickedness, and it becomes a madhouse. It becomes this whirlwind. All right, so we can look at others such as Richard I. Okay, Richard I, King of England, he truly was one of those. He didn't like governing. He liked being king, But he didn't like governing. And so he would go romping all over the place, all over Europe and into the Middle East, and going on his little misadventures and doing these things. Meanwhile, you've got a people that they have to be ruled by somebody else. He didn't want it. He wanted the privileges. He wanted the power. He wanted the wealth. He wanted the luxury that came with it, which was a luxury to do as he pleased. But what about the state of his flocks? All right, and just as a little thing in history, he becomes a prisoner and he's held hostage. They will release him. Actually, it's Austria that did it. They will release him. Have you ever heard of a king's ransom? Literally, that was a king's ransom. And it weren't cheap. All right? It wasn't cheap at all. And somehow, England paid. Richard is released. And then what does he do? I mean, you got your king back, but not for very long. You can't keep him home. He goes right out again and gets himself killed. All right? What was the point of paying that ransom? I mean, really, you've got a king that doesn't want to be your king. He wants to be off doing whatever he wants. But governance, being there for his country, for his nation, for his kingdom, that he didn't care a thing about that. Nothing. And of course, now, he wasn't necessarily what we would call corrupt. He was doing things he shouldn't have been doing. He should have been brought home and made to truly be king. And I'm not sure that but there are others that truly, they are corrupt. All they do are fleece their subjects. They are just there for their own power, and those that bolster them up. That's what they are after, and that's it. Now, we come to verse 24, and that shows us the connection. That we're not really talking about flocks, are we? For riches are not forever, nor does a crown endure to all generations. All right, one, your life will end. Do not squander your reign. Don't squander it. And never think wealth is going to be endless, or your reign and always has another day. Don't ever think that eventually that last chapter closes and it's done. What did you do? What did you do for your kingdom? Because that's what this is regarding. What did you do? And verse 25. Now we return to talk about flocks, and it is a metaphor for a kingdom. When the hay is removed and the tender grass shows itself and the herbs of the mountain are gathered in, the lambs will provide your clothing and the goats the price of a field. Taking care of them, they will take care of you. In Ezekiel chapter 34, verses 1 through 6, we have the description of very, very wicked shepherds. Now, it's not just kings and princes. This would be priests and prophets and the like. There's more than just one category here. But you have these very, very wicked shepherds that sheep die, we have more sheep. All right. Sheep are sick, that's okay. Sheep get sick, who cares? All right, who cares? Who cares about that? They are slaughtered. They are everything about them is being used, and the people are being used by these very powerful men who don't care a thing about them. All right, they really don't care anything. Well, if one dies today, okay, that's a pity. Or 1,000 die today, well, that's a pity too. To them, it doesn't matter. But taking care of them lifts that ruler can help lift that nation. Now, they're going to be the ones actually doing it, but you have to take care of them so that they can do it. And the words of a king, words of a president, the words of a leader of a nation has powerful consequences. Words can kill people. You didn't intend for that to happen, but it did. And words can start wars. Perhaps you didn't intend for that to happen, but it did. Whereas someone who's working on the farm, their words matter, yes, but they don't have as big of an impact. They don't. But with a king, that's a different matter. And you take care of them. Then it goes to verse 27. You shall have enough goat's milk for your food, for the food of your household, and the nourishment of your maidservants. Okay, now in 1 Kings 12, 1 through 16, Rehoboam, who should have learned from this book, Rehoboam does the absolute opposite, or he gives the threat that he's going to do the absolute opposite. All right, he's never given time to do it. He just gives the threat, and that he did not care about the people he was over. He didn't care about them. And as far as he was concerned, they're going to provide him and his government, provide him and his family, his friends, whoever is important to him, they're going to provide for the top. All right? And that's why the little people exist. The little people exist to supply the top with riches. That and luxury and whatever it is their little hearts desire. That's precisely what he threatened them with, thinking that would knock them in line. Here is the thing. You ever read Yertle the Turtle? All right. Yertle the Turtle is, if you haven't, okay, take a little time to read it. But Yertle he's on top of this stack of turtles, and Yertle is up there on top because of all those other turtles. And once those turtles decide, we're done with this, well, Yertle can't be that high anymore. And all it took was, what's his name, Max at the bottom. And all it took from him was a burp. And then it all came tumbling down. Well, that's what happened. That's what, not as humorously, but that's what happened with Rehoboam. Is he gives this warning that, my little finger is thicker than my father's waist. All right, if you thought he was a burden, I'm a giant. All right, if you had a problem with him, all right, it isn't eased up. It's going to be made worse. And all it took was for them to say, no, that's it. That's it. And you have the nation is split. Judah remains loyal to their own. They remain loyal to Rehoboam. Benjamin also is loyal. And you also have, of course, Levites who they live in the southern kingdom. That's where they live. But the splitting that kingdom, you have all of those tribes that just said, no, we're not. We don't have to bear that burden at all. Now, coming to this, just these simple words from 23 to 27, it is telling any king what they must do. And I just want to make mention of this as well, not in Proverbs, but in Psalm 2. Psalm 2, the end of Psalm 2 gives a warning, and it's a warning to rulers and to judges. That would be to kings. It is a warning that while you have, this is information on how to rule and how to rule well. It's not everything you need to know, but it's a basic principle. There in Psalm chapter 2, you know what else is included? Worshiping the Son of God. All right, that is also part of it, that's an expectation that rulers are to be doing that. Now, how many do? I could probably count them on no fingers. I don't think any of them do. I don't think any of them do at all. If one does, I mean, I simply don't know who it is. But here is this message to kings. Now, we're gonna find more of this coming up later in this chapter. Coming up in chapter 28. And there's more things that are going to be brought up. Now, we come to 28 and verse 1. All right, this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with kings per se. It would, but not just them. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Okay, first off, the righteous don't have to run, nor do they have to avoid or try to escape from the consequences of sin when they haven't sinned. It's that simple. Someone who is innocent, and that the proof of that innocence is there. Someone who's innocent does not have to be frightened of going into a courtroom unless the courtroom is stacked against them, unless there's some corruption going on. But a righteous judge judging someone who is innocent and is righteous, well, they're going to find out that, this is an innocent person. Go home. We can see a contrast between, in the life of David. David in 1 Samuel chapter 17 as opposed to David in 2 Samuel chapter 11. We can see an enormous difference. It's almost like we're talking about two different people, two different men. In 1 Samuel 17, he's up against Goliath, and he knows God is behind him, or in front of him, actually. He knows God is with him. He knows it. Comes 2 Samuel chapter 11, he knows God isn't with him. He very well knows that. He has committed adultery. He has murdered. And it's not just Uriah that was killed in this. You have the servants of David who are killed as well for the sake of killing one man, that is Uriah. And it's got to look like it was a military blunder, not an assassination, which that's what it was. It can't smell of anything kind of fishy. It's got to look like, oh, well, that was a mistake. And but he murdered all those people. He murdered, and we don't know what the number is. He's been lying. He has been had others involved in this deception, and that man is now a coward. And everything he did from the point of bringing Bathsheba over to everything that happened to the point of where Nathan the prophet says, "You're that man. You're the very one I'm talking about." All the way through that, David's a different person, and he is only a coward would be doing things like that. And so we come back to it. The wicked flee when no one pursues. That there's always the understanding that what you have done is going to have its effect. What you've done, or even what you haven't done, will always have its effect. If there is a sin involved, it will be harmful. If there's a sin involved, it'll be harmful. And why do you think that you have, I don't know how men can live this way, of mobsters They wake up paranoid, they go to sleep paranoid, they're always looking over the back, looking over their shoulder. They've got the police that are after them, and that's probably the best ones that could be after you. You've got rivals who want you dead. You have friends, or you think they're your friends. They're trying to come up the ladder. They will be okay if you're dead because they move up. How do you live like that? All right. Well, I have no idea how you've got to be so locked into place and such a slave to sin and a desire for money's the only thing you really get out of it. You don't really have friendship. You don't really have loyalty. You don't really have happiness. You don't really have anything. All you get out of this is money, and maybe there's a lot of it. But is it worth it? Coming back, the wicked flee when no one pursues. That always looking over their shoulder, always knowing that eventually something's going to come down on them for what they did. And we are talking about the wicked. We're not talking about someone who's conscientious but makes mistakes, because we all do that. We all make mistakes. And yes, those mistakes can have consequences. But living righteously, one can have boldness there. Now we come to verse 2. Verse 2 is connected to the end of chapter 27. This is talking about kings again. Because of the transgression of a land, many are its princes, but by a man of understanding and knowledge, right will be prolonged. All right? The transgression of a land, that means the people are corrupt. If you have a corrupt people, where are you going to get your king from? From that pool of corrupt people. I mean, that's what you're going to get. If you have a people that are just wicked, in Jeremiah chapter 5, verses 30 to 31, also chapter 32 and verse 32, we see where the people wanted the wickedness. They absolutely wanted it. Let me just hop over there real quick, and we're going over to Jeremiah chapter 5. If I can get there a little bit faster. Jeremiah chapter 5. And we look at verses 30 and 31. An astonishing and horrible thing has been committed in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely. The priests rule by their own power. And my people love to have it so. But what will you do in the end? My people love to have it so. This is what they want. This is what they're after. They are a very corrupt people. And we go to chapter 32 and verse 32. And this is going to be mentioning kings. 32 and verse 32. Because of the evil of the children of Israel and the children of Judah, which they have done to provoke me to anger, their kings, their princes, their priests, their prophets, the men of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. They're the one. They all collectively have done this. You have a people that there's this massive transgression in the land. Where are the righteous? Well, there are few and far between. Jeremiah would be one. All right, and Baruch would be another, and there would be others that are there, but the great number of them, the great majority, would be corrupt. Now, because of transgressions of the land, many are its princes. So what does that mean? Lawlessness attracts the worst. Now, where there is strong righteousness in leadership, a strong righteousness that is like with a king or with a prime minister or with a president or whatever you got, where there is a strong righteousness that is there in a desire for justice, a desire for what is right. Okay, so the righteous have a home. Righteousness can be engendered. Punishment for the wicked is there, and it is clear and evident to all that it is there. When you have a strong, righteous government like that, the wicked, the worst of the worst, are going to hang back because they know they can't do anything. They're hamstrung. They can't do what they want to do. But when there is this transgression in the land, when there is such wickedness in the land, then they can. They know that whoever is in power right now, well, we just go and we just ride his coattails right on into power. All right? And that wickedness attracts wickedness. Wickedness loves wickedness. And the wicked demand it to be done. They don't want righteousness. They don't want justice, because if there was real justice, they'd all have to go to jail or be executed. All right? And so they don't want any of that. And you have those that want to step up, will try to step up to take advantage of the situation. Many will be looking for power, and they will be wicked people. That's what occurs. That's what occurs. And you have men like Zimri in 1 Kings 16, verses 15 to 20. That's what he tries to do. And he's successful, and his reign is the shortest one of Israel. How long did he reign as king? Anybody remember? His total 7 days. Yeah, he was king for a week. All right, you heard of being king for a day? He did a little bit better than that. All right, he was king for a week, and he dies in a fire that he starts. Now, but by a man of understanding and knowledge, right will be prolonged. There's going to be justice. Proverbs 20 and verse 8, a king can scatter evil with his eyes. That's a righteous king. A righteous king does that. He scatters evil with his eyes. There you've got you've got everything that's stable there. All right, everything that is stable. Have y'all heard about, I'll just bring in another historical figure. He's called, his real name is Vlad Tepes. He's also called Vlad the Impaler. And yeah, it's because of what you would think. All right, and Dracula actually was fashioned out from him. From his legend came the story of Dracula. Okay, well, he wasn't a vampire, but he was a very cruel ruler in Romania. Extraordinarily cruel. A very wicked man, to where even enemies wanting to invade his country, wanting to invade Romania, saw what he was doing and turned back saying, we can't terrorize this place. They know greater terror than what we were bringing. They're having to, and we don't want to end up like this. All right, this forest of impaled people. All right, we don't want to end up like this, and how do we even compete with that? Well, we don't, and so they left out of good sense. Now, someone like him, do you know why he was doing that? One major reason happened to be that you have too many, we will call them princes, because that's what is being brought up here. Many are its princes. You have these others of the royal family, others of the nobility, that they would fight tooth and nail. They would do whatever it took to get the kingdom. And it's all this corruption that's in the land. It's all this corruption. And so the only way he can keep it is to kill anybody that he suspects, which is done in places like North Korea. It was done in the Soviet Union. It was done under Nazi Germany. It was done by Idi Amin. It was done, just name the tyrant, and you will see where they have to do that just to stay alive. because you've got so much corruption. You have so many with daggers out for you in the high spot. Okay. And it's all because there is this transgression in the land. Lawlessness attracts more lawlessness. It attracts the worst in people. Now, we come to verse 3. And this is leaving the subject of kings. Momentarily, we go right back to it. But a poor man who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain which leaves no food. All right, one would think that a poor man would be empathetic to the poor. And one could be, all right? But this is talking about a particular person who doesn't. He has no empathy for the poor. Here is a man who is poor, and he oppresses the poor. All right, he has no understanding concerning them. He has no care for those who are impoverished just like he is. No care whatsoever. What is he like? He's like driving rain that leaves no food. You get the worst of everything. You get the rain, but no benefit from the rain. You get floods, but there's no benefit that comes out of it. He does not help anybody, and is just an oppressor is all he is. And where one may think that he's one of us, therefore he's going to be nice, maybe not. All right, maybe not. Now, we come to verse 4. Verse 4 returns back to this idea of the king, and what a king is supposed to be doing. Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. So this goes back to the transgression of the land, and this goes back to righteousness and a man of understanding and a man of knowledge. Someone who forsakes the law is going to be wicked by definition, obviously going to praise that condition of wickedness, and is going to be calling on wickedness. They're never going to call on righteousness. They're at odds with righteousness. These two cannot actually be together without serious contention. And God is on the side of one and not on the side of the other. God is on the side of the righteous. But such as keep the law contend with them. Yeah, these are two extremes, and they're not compatible. There's going to be contentions. One holding fast to the Word of God, to justice, to righteousness, to honor, to everything that is good. The other denying every bit of that. And praising wickedness, calling for wickedness. If you're praising it, you're calling for more of it. Let's face it. If you praise wicked ways, you are calling for people to be wicked. That's what you're doing. And it would be a call for the praise of murder, or the call for murder. And do we have that today? Yes, we do. Yeah, we do. And it comes as no surprise. You know why? Because you have a certain people that have been calling for murder for decades, when they called for pro-choice, and you kill your children and I don't have to. Okay, you kill your children. And that's what abortion is. When you can devalue the life of anybody, it doesn't matter who it is. You devalue the life of any innocent, you devalue all life. All life. And it shouldn't come as a surprise, going way back, of where you have abortionists who, they don't limit themselves to just the unborn, because human life didn't mean anything to them. And they would just as well kill the mother, and did. Or kill somebody else, and did. Now, we come back, those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Yeah, that they will praise anyone who forsakes the law. And when the wicked are praised, the innocent are destroyed. And the wicked don't care. All right, they don't care. It comes down to that. They don't care a thing about the innocent at all. Now we come to the last part of this, and which we need to look. But such as keep the law contend with them. That there must be law and order. There must be a return back to sanity, a return back to what God gives us. It must be a return back to everything that is good. In 1 Kings chapter 3 and verse 28, the beginning of Solomon's reign. The beginning of Solomon's reign. The people actually feared him because they saw this man is just. Now, to say they feared him doesn't mean that the righteous were terrified of him. They weren't. But they very well understood, you break the law, you're going to be seeing him. You break the law, he's not going to make any excuses for you. He's going to do precisely what the law calls for. And there was a healthy fear. Now, for the wicked, they would need to be in terror. They would need to be holding back of, I better not do this that I've been fantasizing about, that I've been planning, that I've been trying to work out. I better not do that while that man's on the throne. On a convenient time? Maybe, but not now. Not at this point. And that is where a righteous king and a strong government from righteousness will keep everyone where they're supposed to be for the best of everyone. That's what righteousness is about. It's what is good for everybody, and it would be at any level of humanity, whether it's the individual or the married couple or the family and the extended family or a town or a city or a nation or internationally. At every level of humanity, the righteousness of God works and always has. It has worked every time it has been tried. All right, now we'll look at verse 5, and we may have to come back to this next week. Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand all. All right? They don't know what justice is. Justice means they get their way. That's justice. Something that is just means they get to do what they want to do or what their friends want to do. That's justice to them. It's never so much as the wicked are punished, unless they want the wicked punished, then they could see it. But they don't understand. That's not justice, is it? That's not justice. Justice is not wanting me always being free to do whatever I want to do, and my enemies, well, they can just die. All right, that's hardly just. That's not justice at all. That is a very wicked person who is doing that. That is, as Proverbs calls it, as the Holy Spirit calls it, evil men. They don't know anything, not about justice. But those who seek the Lord, now it's opened up. They understand justice. They can understand it because now it's opened up. And as this book starts out, verse 3, chapter 1, verse 3, it promises justice, judgment, equity. It promises that you will understand that. You look at this book and you follow it, you understand it, you will know these things. And those are enormous subjects. We will continue next week. Thank you, everybody. And that's all.